It's the Rangers Journal night.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Rangers Journal. It's myself, David Thommo, back again for another roundup of Euro 2024. We've done a preview last week, myself and my guest tonight, Billy. I'm going to go through some of what's been happening at Euro 2024 so far. Just before we start, just want to put a little shout out, bit of a plug to the Gallant Few podcast. They've got a daily Rangers update, as the title suggests. It's daily, so please go over and look at those guys and give them a thumbs up, give them a subscribe, and hear the daily Rangers news from them. As I say, I'm here with Billy this evening. Good evening, Billy. How are you doing? You all right?
I'm okay, mate. As I was saying to you just before we started, I'm literally just in the door, so I've not even got a chance to put a strip on this time.
Yeah, as I say, I was feeling all optimistic last week, but that's certainly been dampened. So, as I say, we're going to talk about the Euros so far, and we'll see where that conversation sort of takes us. If you are watching, like and subscribe, get involved in the comments, and we'll obviously put comments up. So yeah, I'll rip the plaster off straight away, Billy. First game Friday night. Germany v Scotland. Did you watch a game?
Yes, of course, mate. Yeah, that is kind of my whole day was kind of linked with getting everything ready to watch it at night. So the only thing I can say is just humiliating. I'm embarrassed, and I'm also just really disappointed and angry with them. I don't know what happened. It's maybe Germany are just too good a team, but we're in the pot with these, pot one teams for the Nations League. So to get humiliated like that, and it was such a gutless performance. I don't know what your opinion is of me, but I don't think any player looked anywhere near it. I mean, these are players that, a lot of them play in the Premier League. So, you obviously get the Celtic captain there as well. They've played at decent enough levels, but it just all went out the window. I don't know if it was the lack of a game plan. Only the players will know if they followed whatever Steve Clarke had set them up to do, but it was totally disjointed, and as I said, mate, embarrassing and just really disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, in the preview pod we did, I think we were sort of being realistic in terms of our chances. I think we sort of said that Germany, they're on home soil. They'll probably want to come out and put on a bit of a show, but I don't think we expected what we saw on Friday night. Starting off with the Scotland team, was there any surprises in there that you thought that maybe rang a little bit of alarm bells before the game even started?
Probably not surprising, because I think Clarke just sticks with this game plan that he's got. I don't know if it's the 5 at the back or 3 at the back with two wing backs. He was sticking to that. His team seems to. He wants to shoehorn 2 left backs into the team, and it's understandable. I mean, Robertson plays for Liverpool. He's won things with Liverpool, but I just don't think it's working. You then also got the lack of Billy Gilmour, who, I mean, the Scotland fans sing about him, that we've got Billy Gilmour on the team and he's not starting. That, I'm not tactically astute enough to know if that was a tactical reason or whatever, but he played 2 things for me. He played McTominay and Christie in positions that neither of them play for the clubs anymore. McTominay is not one of the defending midfielders, at least Man United aren't using them like that. And Christie has been played more as a defensive midfielder this season. So why not swap them around? If you're going to play them both, at least play them in the positions that they're used to playing for their club. But I just don't really get the tactics at all. And we have, what was it, no expected goals? It's crazy, and the level these players play at, you should be at least doing something. It seemed to be a punt the ball forward and hope for the best. Shea Adams for me is not that type of striker that's going to dominate the defence and hold the ball up. If you're going to do it, I think you maybe should have went with Shankland. Not that I think he's the world's best at it, but I think he's better than Shea Adams. So I was not surprised with the lineup, but again, I don't know why he put them in the positions that they ended up playing in. I just don't see. I don't know what the game plan was other than try not to get beat, and that went out the window after 20 minutes when you're 2 goals down. You need to change something. Then you can't keep going with that formation. So just thoroughly disappointed, mate.
I mean, we'll come on to a little bit more of the results in the Euros, so and other teams. But I think what was so surprising for me was basically the lack of effort. I couldn't really get a gauge on how good Germany were, because Scotland just seemed to go, there you go, do what you want. You know, Tony Kroos. They were looking at his passing stats at the end, and it was in like the high 90s. And well, that's good. He was
actually, mate. Can I jump in there, because I've read that it's it was a record actually in the Euros. He had over I think 102 passes and 101 or 100 successful. So he actually was setting records as well. But it's not like we put any kind of pressure on him.
And that's what I mean. He's a world-class player, and we just basically said, go on, do what you want. And I think for me, that is the most disappointing thing. No one's going to sit here and go, you know, we should be tanking the Germans, or we should be beating them by records, whatever. But the minimum you want to see is effort. Watch, you know, the likes of Albania, Slovenia, Slovakia, teams that aren't fancied. They're against supposedly better teams, but the players put in the effort. And you know, Albania put in a good show against Italy and could have snatched something. But with Scotland, it was alarm bells were ringing for me when, after 3 minutes, Kieran Tierney and Andy Robertson, probably two
I know what you're going to say,
successful players in that squad, were celebrating winning a goal kick. You know, and I think for me that just sums up the mentality of Scotland. Since we have qualified, we won 1 game in 10, and that was against Gibraltar. 1 game in 10. Any other manager would be getting questions asked about one, but Clark seems to have he seems to be a bit bulletproof because we've qualified. And as you said about McTominay, he was our top goal scorer in qualifying. Now all of a sudden he's getting asked to play a more defensive role. Do you get the feeling that within the Scotland team, Scotland management, they're almost happy just to qualify, and then after that, that's a job done? Because that's certainly how I feel.
I think we kind of covered that a little bit last week, I'm sure, with that, how I didn't want us to turn up and just be happy to be there. You know, we're in this Group 1 bunch of teams. We should be acting like it and acting like we deserve to be there. If I go back to Steve Clark, I mean, you can't criticise the campaign, the qualifying campaign. I mean, that was, I don't think I've ever seen Scotland play, or at least have those kind of results. So I give him credit for that. But what I don't give him credit for is when he's too slow. Well, I don't even think he does change. He still continues to try and play the same thing. Now, I know in the Finland game he went for 4-4-2, wasn't it? But he's immediately, and it looked, you know, we were 2-0 up, and obviously the goalkeeper change, and you know, the ending, it is a friendly. I'm not particularly bothered about losing the 2 goals at the end now, but that worked for that game. But he doesn't want to kind of proceed with that. He tried McTominay at the back before, remember? He used to play him in the back 3. And now he was one of our best players, you know, scoring goals against Spain in the qualifiers. For me, he's of a different time. I think it's probably, you know, what you know, unless he goes on and wins this or gets, you know, further into the tournament, you know, by a decent way, I think we should be looking to move on to someone a bit more modern in the game, because I don't think he has his playing the other night there like his Kilmarnock side, just trying to hold on, and when it doesn't work, and say they do go a couple of goals down like Kilmarnock did, they didn't know what to do. They ended up, we would beat them by 5 goals as well. And those times when he was the manager there, I guess he's hoping that it works more often than it doesn't. But he's not. He's obviously got time to turn this competition around. We're obviously going to talk about the Scotland's game tomorrow. But just if you know. Let's just start with the teams coming out. I heard it mentioned in another pod. You know, the other teams come out with the anthem jackets on, look really smart, and we just come out with the tops on. He's arguing with his assistant manager at the side of the park. His kind of attitude after the game, I think he's done a decent job of owning it since, but the aftermath of the press conference after it, I just felt was a bit tin pot, a bit embarrassing. You know, kind of arguing with the journalists as well. But he's not. I can't take away what he's qualified for 2 tournaments. You can caveat by saying it's harder not to qualify for these tournaments now. Well, it's easier to qualify now than it was for maybe McLeish or Walter Smith, for instance. Before that was a bit harder, and now we're looking at a competition. Now we've still got 2 games to go, but just the way I'm feeling just now, we've got a competition where only 4 teams are going to go out at this stage. Maybe
I think it's 8 teams.
Is
Eight
it
teams go out there.
So
24 and 16 qualified.
16 are going to stay. We need to be one of the ones that stay, or it's a complete embarrassment. And we were, we were open last week that Germany's going to be a tough game. It's probably going to be a free hit. I just don't think I was expecting, even if we get beat by a couple of goals. It was the manner of this defeat, of how shapeless, out of ideas. Taking, rather than putting pressure on the goalkeeper, taking short free kicks when we needed to get, to score. It was just all round, I'm going to say it again, just embarrassing.
Yeah, and even at half time, the game was gone. We're 3-0 down to 10 men. But even at half time, when he took off Shea Adams and I think played Ryan Christie up front, it just reinforced that we're not looking to do anything. Obviously, the game itself, we got off to a bad start. Decent enough hit from Wirtz, but I think Angus Gunn should be doing better for that first one. And then the second goal, Musiala runs past McGregor on the halfway line. He just stands and watches him, and then obviously gets back and then runs by him. And again, it's another nice finish. But the real main sort of talking point in that first half was Porteous and his tackle. Was it anything other than a red card for you, Billy?
Well, it depends if you're a Scottish referee or every other referee in the planet. I'm not going to, certainly not want to character assassinate Ryan Porteous. I think he's actually had a decent qualifying campaign for us when he's played. He's done what he's been asked to do. But this is what he does. And, when we, as Rangers fans, maybe complain about it, when some of the tackles that you put in against our players and you get laughed at, oh, that's just Scottish football. No, that's not football anymore. Gone are the days where you can go in and get away with that. I had a friend actually say to me he thought he slips. I don't give him the benefit of that doubt. I think he does what he thinks. He got away with sometimes, get red carded other times, but more often than not, he flies into these challenges, really dangerous ones that could end up seriously injuring another pro. I don't know if you can train that out of him anymore. He just reacts. He had to make a tackle, but there's better ways of making that tackle than diving in the way he did.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion of it was he didn't need to dive in at all. He could have. I think he was going to win that ball anyway ahead of Gundogan, and clear it just by staying on your feet. And he's flew in, and then he's tried to con the referee by being injured, but. It goes back to what we said last week, Billy, that in Scottish football, and I'll be honest, outside of watching him against Rangers, I don't know what sort of tackles and whatnot he put in. But against Rangers, he certainly put in quite a few dangerous tackles on players. And he was almost applauded for it. And I wouldn't say get away with it because he picked up a couple of red cards against us, but there was then that weekly debate of, a red card against Rangers. And you've got to think that plays into the mindset of the player. and thinks, I can get away with this. There's nothing wrong with this. I can get away with it. And especially now with VAR and cameras everywhere, you're never getting away with that sort of tackle. So I think the referee got it spot on, and then even afterwards, when he's got the red card, he still has he still has the balls to argue with the ref and say no. But there was a good couple of freeze frames of the tackle, and it shows him 2 feet off the ground. He hasn't slipped. He's gone in, knowing exactly. And at 2-0 down, the game is nigh on impossible. At 10 men and then giving away a penalty, that's pretty much done. We get into the second half. Germany again just pretty much do what we want. Scored a decent fourth goal. It's a nice finish from I think it's Füllkrug up front. He's had a good season for Dortmund, and we managed to get a goal without actually having a shot on target. So, and Anthony Rudiger, I believe, is our joint top goal scorer in the last 25 years in tournaments. So that'll be a quiz question at some point, I imagine. And then we can see the fifth. But we done a podcast last week about improving Scottish football, and I think this is a good sort of reminder that the head of the SFA, the head of Scottish football, is on hundreds of £1,000s a year, and there is no progress. There is no progress, and if anything, we're going backwards. If you look at our opening result in Euro 2020, we're going backwards. So, a little bit off topic. What are these people doing to earn their money, Billy? What's your thoughts and opinions on that? Do we need someone from the outside who has fresh ideas?
100%, mate, because it's a glorified bowling club, the SFA. They appoint their pals. People in positions of power have no reason to be there. The chairman's a club like Alloa, teams like that. They're not at the front or the coal face of the modern football. It's dinosaurs running the game, and it won't clear out. But I mean, if we compare how the talent we bring through to countries of similar size, say the Netherlands, for instance, when have we ever, since the 70s or 80s, had players of their quality? It really would need someone coming in, stripping the whole place down, and starting from scratch. I mean, are our kids playing football the same way that maybe even me and you did generations before that? I drive by enough football fields and hardly see any games ever going on. Things need to really be modernised. If you look at so the refereeing appointment, he's a referee that lets these kind of tackles, go. Or he's, if you remember, I think it was him that red carded John Lundstrom, and then for the exact same tackle. No consistency, no quality in the refereeing. I mean, it would need to change. These people would need to go, and it would need to be a full, modernisation of the whole Scottish football from top to bottom. And we have these wee things every 10 years or so that we're going to, we'll investigate it and look into it. And yet, yes, a good point there, Paul. So with a bit of, we need to, especially in Rangers and maybe in Celtic as well, these youth players playing at a higher level. But we've for too long liked the reputation that Scotland have for being tough and being, hard. This isn't Leeds United in the 70s anymore. That, like, look, do you want to play like a pub team, the Red Bray and Kirkintilloch? Do you want to play like them, an amateur team, or do you want to play like France play, or Germany play, or Holland play, or Belgium play? These are, France and Germany aside, we should be competing with Belgium, but for the quality of players we have. But it needs coaches, modern coaches, ones that will not drill a player to go in someone's shin or someone's knee and celebrate it, or celebrate getting a corner, or not a corner, a by kick or a throw in. If you remember, even a couple of years ago, was it an Old Firm game where one of the Celtic defenders like celebrated like he scored when he blocked a shot? That's not the mentality we want. We need to get, we need. I don't think it'll happen, mate. There's too many dinosaurs to that are looking after themselves, keeping their noses in the trough, isn't it? Sorry, I'm ranting a bit tonight. I'm just really annoyed.
No. As I say, that's what I mean. It's some great points and great topics. And as I say, if people haven't seen it, we done a podcast last week about how to improve Scottish football, and obviously a lot of it was about the hierarchy. And we touched on countries such as Germany, Belgium. They had 20 odd years ago, they had terrible World Cups or terrible Euros, and they went and whipped everything up from grassroots football up, and they started again, and they've been reaping the benefits of it for the last 10, 15 years. And we just, like you say, there's just too many old pals acts going on, and the appointment of the likes of Willie Collum for the referees. The chap that appointed him came out and said, we've scoured Europe, South America, Asia, and he's our best candidate. And if that is honestly the best candidate, then I'm wondering who actually applied for the job, because I know there's a couple of referees who have not long retired down in England who wanted the job, and they would have brought in a fresh insight. Like you said, I don't think it's wanted. And as Paul made a great point there, our youth teams and our B teams, they don't play in any leagues. So where are we expecting these youth players to come from to filter into the national team? I mean, obviously you done your interview last night with Youssef. People haven't seen that, and he's talking about how the player we're looking to sign is playing in the under-23 team, and he's knocking on the door of the national team. But where's that with Scotland? Where's the youth, the under-21 players that are knocking on the door? And I think it's a sad indictment that Billy Gilmore, who I would say is the one player that can take the ball in tight spaces, be comfortable on it, is sitting on the bench against a team where we need to keep possession and we can't give it away. And it's, as I say, it's just a sad indictment for Scottish football as a whole. So we sort of go on, Scotland go on. We'll go on to some of the other games that have been played. Have you watched much of the other games, or have you not been able to catch much?
I think I've certainly dropped in and out of some other games. I mean, I think Switzerland looked good in the first half the other day there against Hungary. Obviously watched the England game. Think that they were kind of massively off the boil, to be honest with you. Again, maybe players playing in the wrong position. Was Trent Alexander-Arnold not played out of position in that game?
I believe he played midfield, wasn't he?
Yeah, which is something we say. Well, not me personally, but you'll see some Rangers fans say, "Why don't we play Tav? One further up." Well, maybe there's a reason why we don't. But and also the France game last night, I thought was quite enjoyable too. I mean, that was a couple of blood injuries. Mbappe doing that wee cheeky, going back on the pitch. I mean, years and years ago, I think Reyes did that in a game where he was off injured and he sugared his bum back onto the pitch to get the game stopped. But that looked like a sore one. I think was definitely a broken nose.
From looking at it, I believe so. And I read something not long before coming on that he's going to be out for the game on, I think it's Friday against the Netherlands. So that'll be a big miss for France on Friday.
Well, certainly for me, because I've got him as captain of my fantasy team, so I'm going to have to
get him
change
subbed
that.
Out.
Yep, get him subbed out. But I mean, the way they attack. I know it wasn't a high-scoring game, but how the speed that the attacks is impressive. What about you? Have you seen any games that stuck out?
Yeah, pretty much over the weekend. I think I watched all the games. I only seen highlights of the England game because I was doing something else. But the Switzerland-Hungary game, I've got to be honest, I was pretty much impressed with both teams. For the first half, I thought Switzerland were excellent and could easily have had the game wrapped up. But second half, Hungary certainly came into it, and I think both teams looked light years ahead of what Scotland are.
Mm-hmm.
And as I say, we'll come on to a bit of a preview of the Scotland game later, so I won't sort of give my thoughts now. But yeah, really enjoyed that game. And then Italy-Albania. Albania scored the fastest ever goal, and Italy turn it around.
What was that about?
I think maybe the Italy guy who's taking the throw and needs his betting accounts checked. But no, I thought the Albania player took it well, and but again, this is a team that's however many places down the ranking behind Italy, and they've put in the effort and they've pushed Italy all the way. And for a team like Albania to do that against the current holders of the Euros, we go back to Scotland and like, why can't we do that? Have we got players that are playing at a lesser level than Albania? And I would say no. But here we are. They just put in the effort, the press that they had. Maybe it'll fall away in the other games. Who knows? But yeah, and then. There was mention there about Romania yesterday against Ukraine, but they were. I don't think many people would have predicted that result, but thought Romania were excellent. But again, aided probably by a couple of mistakes from the goalkeeper, Ukraine's end. But so far, it's been good in the results, apart from probably the Romania and the Belgium game last night. I think results have really sort of gone the way that people would predict. Mm-hmm. Did you catch any of the Belgium game yesterday?
Did I? I don't. I'm trying to remember, mate, because apart from the bigger games like the England game, the France game, our game, caught a bit of the highlights of the Romania game, mainly because I was wanting to see if Hadji was going to come on. But just getting bits and bobs really so far. But I mean, the plan was to watch as much as I could. I think just things of the timing of them is not great. 5 o'clock games kind of when I'm getting in for work and I've got to get set up for the next day. So it's usually highlights for that one. But I quite like watching the late night one.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, in the bell, what I've been impressed with so far through the Euros is the VAR with, especially with offside calls. Switzerland on Saturday, the first goal, the linesman put the flag up, say he was offside, and there wasn't a huge delay. And they've now got the automated system, and it just seemed to work really quickly to show that the player was onside and the game gets moving again.
Let me ask you your opinion on the American VAR expert, the lady.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's nice to have a bit of an explanation as to why something is being done, but at the same time, I suppose it's the way football punditry and commentary is going. But do you need someone there? It's like when you watch Soccer Saturday and they've got one of the ex-referees sat in the panel and explaining that why something is a penalty or isn't a penalty. It's like you can sort of see it once the replay's on. You can see it. So I've heard her a couple of times, and she comes across as sensible. And yeah, it's but is it really needed? What I take it you've got an opinion on it, Billy. If you,
oh no, to be honest, it was more my wife last night said, "Who's that talking?" Because it's never really been on before. But I don't know who she is. I don't know if she's in contact. I take it she's not in contact with the actual VAR team to be explaining what they're actually talking about. I'm assuming it's just her reading of the game. But no, I actually do like having the someone telling you, that knows the rules, that this is why that's been given, or this is why this is happening, or this is why Ryan Porteous should never play for Scotland ever again. Things like that. No, I quite enjoyed it. I don't. Is it ITV that's doing it, or is it BBC? I know it's only one of them, isn't it?
I think it was ITV.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure people in the comments will correct us if it's wrong, but I think it is ITV.
The reason I was bringing it up is because I wouldn't mind having like an expert on our games telling us why such and such has happened, because then when you're looking at maybe some perceived mistakes from last season, I'm thinking of was it Roof's goal that got chopped off, and then a couple other Old Firm incidents. It'd be nice to know, an explanation for at least what the referee might be thinking, because really we're just sitting thinking they're cheats, and they may be, but also they may be making proper decisions based on the rule book. But I think we'll have to talk about that another day, mate. But I'm looking forward to the game tonight. Didn't manage to catch the that's on at the moment, actually, isn't it? Have a quick. I'll not ruin the score for anyone. Yeah, it's I don't know if the times are just different from the previous one. I seem to watch a lot more from the World Cup, for instance, but obviously that's on the other side of the planet to this one. So I'm trying to watch a bit more so I can be a bit more informed when I come on and talk to you, mate.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I say, it's I think today's the sort of the first day, obviously apart from Scotland-Germany game, where there's not been 3 games on. So they have been on it. Yeah, they have been on at 2 p.m., 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. So I think the 5 and 8 p.m. games are continuing until the weekend, and then I think I'll have to double check. It goes back to 3 games.
Well, I'm pretty much standard working hours, so yeah, the early on games and I'll probably catch the second half of most of these 5 o'clock ones, but once you had something to eat and settle down, then the 8 o'clock one's actually quite a good time, isn't it?
No, well, definitely. And as you say, like France, I thought Austria maybe a little bit unlucky not to take something from that game. The guy Baumgarten, I think that's how you pronounce it, Mr. Great Chance. Literally, I think it was about 2 minutes before France scored, and it's things like that I think just separate the top teams and everyone else, really. I'm saying that Mbappe missed a sitter, which I'm sure you were cursing him for if he's your captain in your fantasy team.
Yeah, it's hard to explain to the family why I'm so upset about one particular player, and not anybody else.
Yeah, well, I was surprised to hear as well in the commentary. He's never scored a goal in the European Championships, which is
why did I pick him as my main striker?
Yeah, which is an amazing stat, but yeah, I'm sure he'll come good as and when he's back from his injury. So, well, I say we've got Portugal tonight. That's what I've picked to win it. I've picked Portugal to win it, so I'm looking forward to watching them.
Well, I think I picked France last week, so I was going to ask you, actually, did you, out of the games you've seen so far, I know you've not seen Portugal yet, but have you had any change of mind when you've seen the first set of fixtures? Because I'm thinking, maybe we just made them look good, but I'm maybe thinking about changing to Germany.
Yeah, as I say, if I'm being honest, I couldn't really put a gauge on Germany. Were they brilliant and just made Scotland look terrible, or did we contribute to that? I think we've got some fantastic players, but I just think Scotland were that dismal. Any sort of half decent side would have done that to us, what Germany did. But I do certainly think Germany will be around there. It's the same with another team we've not mentioned is Spain. I thought they were excellent against Croatia, who are, they are a bit of an aging side, but they still get the results. They're not an easy team to play against, and Spain pretty much took them apart and didn't look. And the other thing as well, it looks like Morata's learnt the offside rule, and that could make him fairly dangerous this tournament. Because but I think there's a few teams, Billy, that are going to be in and around it. I don't think any one team's just going to have it all their own way. And as I say, I'm looking forward to watching Portugal tonight because, again, Ronaldo, he's getting on a bit. He might not be playing in the best of leagues, but he's been doing it for 20 years, and it's still special to watch a player like that when they're on telly. And when the likes of him and Messi do retire, I think we'll all sort of realise how spoilt we've been these last 20 years. And we've been comparing other players to him. It's like, someone only scored 40 goals this season. They were terrible. They had a terrible season. And I think we've been spoiled. So I think we just need to make the most of them while we can. But as I say, I'm going to stick with Portugal, which means I'll probably get stuffed 3-0 tonight by Czech Republic.
I don't think so, but just going back to your Croatia point, it was more our attitude when we played them in the final group game the last time. Like, we can maybe take something off them. What, the team that were in the World Cup final? I don't know why we thought that. I mean, does Modric age? Has he got an obscure reference, but is there a painting in the attic getting older as he stays the same? Well, he's another one in that bracket for me. But okay, maybe a slight step down from Messi and Ronaldo, but what a player he's been.
Again, he's another player that you just got to enjoy him while he's.
Just makes it look effortless. Everything he does is just effortless, isn't it? He never looks like he's running, headless chicken or anything. It's all smooth and.
I mean, I've seen, as I say, a little bit sort of away from what we were talking about there, but I was commenting on social media about Billy Gilmore should have started ahead of Callum McGregor on Friday night, and as you can imagine, there were fans of a certain team who didn't like that, and I must be a sectarian bigot if I didn't want McGregor in the team. And a couple of the comments that I saw were Billy Gilmore, he'd get blown away in a strong wind, and that mentality that we spoke about earlier, Scottish football, it seems to be you've got to be some 6 foot plus meathead. Whereas you've got players like Modric, who for the last near enough 20 years has controlled games in the toughest leagues in the world, strongest physical leagues in the world. And he's probably about 5'7" and about 9 stone wet through. So I think that's another thing, that it's a Scottish mentality that we need to get away from. Just because you're small doesn't mean you can't make it in the game. And
I mean, I don't want to have I'm not having a go at Callum McGregor because I don't think he was the worst player the other night there. I don't know if Gilmore would have made a difference in the end with how the rest of the players were playing, but he's playing at a higher level regularly. And what generally happens when Callum McGregor comes up against teams of Champions League quality is they get beat 7-1, things like that. He's not the he's not got a good record of playing against, the high level elite teams, does he? He does well in Scotland, and I think that's probably his level, and it's probably why no one else has come in from the Premier League or another bigger league. So for me, I would be starting Gilmore. I don't know if you want to go on to talk about the next game yet, but he would definitely be in my first name in the team sheet, I guess.
Well, that's where I was going to lead on to that. So tomorrow we start sort of our second round of matches. We've obviously got Switzerland. Brings us back to Euro 96 and a certain Mr. McCoist scoring a nice goal from outside the box. From right and say, our last win in a European Championship, that game. That is almost 30 years ago, 28 years ago now. Mm-hmm. So you've said Billy Gilmore be on your starting lineup. What else would you change? Would you like to see tomorrow?
Funnily enough, they might be a team that the three at the back might suit a bit more. I just would like our players to play in the positions that they're best at rather than shoehorning them in. And if Robertson doesn't fit, that slightly further forward left side, then don't play him there. Nobody in that Scotland team should be undroppable. from my opinion. But we should be competing. I mean, I'm going to say I'm disappointed and annoyed at everything I was saying about the Germany game, but we're still Scotland fans, and the reel is back in. So I am hopeful, because as much as I think Switzerland did a very decent first half, they're prone to making a mistake further up the field that you can take advantage of. Now, if we've got the players fast enough to break on them, maybe not, but that's when we can see some joy on the counter attack with them. So I do think that we should be at least, considering, or not considering, but we should be at least be. We shouldn't be scared of them. Is what I guess what I'm trying to say. We should be better than them. I know they've got a couple of bigger players, but so does Scotland. If Scotland get a Man United player, they've got is Tierney at Arsenal still? Is that right?
Yeah, he's at Arsenal. You got Robertson at Liverpool.
I'm not wanting to play Robertson though, but I'm assuming he will play. But we've got players that play a high enough level as well, so that we should be going out there and more than trying to dominate the game and dictate what's happening. And we really need to let the fire of the disappointment, in your belly, I guess is the phrase, but let that there to fire you on. But you need to really forget about that game. We can't change what happened the other night there. They're all knockout games now, from my opinion, because we can't really. I don't even think a draw would be beneficial to us anymore. We need to be winning every game. Every game will. If we don't win, is the nail in the coffin for us going out. So we need to win tomorrow. We need to win on Sunday, and then going forward, we need to try our best. Every game is a knockout game for me now.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I mean, especially the goal difference. Teams that will be going through in third place. Our goal difference took a whacking there the other night.
That is another thing that is a worry, that it was such a big loss. Unless Germany do that to Hungary and Switzerland, we're really it's worse than a defeat. It's a defeat and a kind of point off, isn't it?
I mean, you say we've got to forget about the game on Friday, and while I agree with you, I really hope it was just professional pride and national pride from the players. I hope that they want to go out there and go, we want to put on a show. The fans who have travelled in their numbers, they're having a great time from what you see in the media. But I hope the players are just, I hope they've been hurt by that on Friday, because I've got to be honest, with the game on Friday, I wasn't expecting a huge amount in terms of a positive result. But the more I thought about it, and as the hours went by and the days went by, I was getting really angry and really disappointed at the performance of the players, and the lack of just sort of pride that they had. There was no G'ing up of everyone. There was no getting close to the German players. I'm not saying go out and hurt anyone, not at all, but there was no getting into tackles or, it was just very passive and almost an acceptance. And I think Switzerland, while they qualify for pretty much all the tournaments, are a team we should be looking at and going, this is what we need to emulate what they do. It's a country of, I'll say similar size, but we need to be sort of looking at them as a blueprint. Like, how do you qualify for tournaments regularly? How do you regularly get through group stages? And I don't think we have anything to fear from them. And I'd like to just see us go out and put a bit of an attacking display on. And as you say, they're vulnerable to the counter attack. So, will that be Shea Adams or Shankland up front? Maybe even both of them. Clark may well spring a surprise on everyone. But anything else you think about the game tomorrow that
guess
can
just
see
your
happening?
opinion on would you? I mean, I was quite disappointed with Gunn's performance. For me, he probably still. Well, I think he far and away is the probably the best keeper that's there. But would you be considering a change in goalkeeper with some of those goals? I mean, there's somebody I seen the one in our chat. Someone called them Poppadom hands. So it was yeah, just I was hoping. Well, I thought he was better than that. Maybe again the nerves got to him. Maybe the shots were so good, but I don't think they were. It just wasn't strong. Maybe we're used to Al McGregor and having strong hands, and Jack Butland as well. But it just seemed like really limp kind of saves from him. Would you be thinking of a change? Really, is what I'm getting at.
I mean, the other goalkeepers are Xander Clark and Liam Kelly, aren't they? And I don't think they're any better than Gunn, to be honest. Xander Clark is, he's done well for himself at St Johnstone, and he's obviously been a regular this season at Hearts, even when Craig Gordon came back from his injury. But I don't think he's the answer. And again, with Liam Kelly, I don't think he's had that great a season with Motherwell. He's always he always seems to have a bit of a mistake in him. So Gunn had a solid qualifying campaign, I thought, and I think he deserves another chance. But like you said before, there's nobody in that team going on Friday's performance that can say my place is safe in this team. And I've seen early on in the chat, apologies, I can't remember who it was that said it, but they mentioned Ryan Jack playing in at right back. We've obviously seen him do that a couple of times for Rangers during his career. He's done it for Scotland a couple of times. I think that would mean we'd have to go to a flat back four, but is that something you could see happening, or do you think it's just no chance?
I don't think there's any chance, just because I don't think Steve Clarke will change from that that formation that he favours, despite having what I thought was a good 80 minutes against Finland, which probably is would you say a similar standard to Switzerland? Not far off it. They get into tournaments usually as well. So I don't see it happening, mate, but unless he's forced into it with injuries and stuff. But he might surprise us. I don't think, though. He doesn't seem to change. Even during games, he doesn't seem to like to change anything. So, having, as you said earlier on, Ryan Christie up front kind of sums him up to me. Rather than, bringing on an actual striker. I mean, he went to the Craig Levein no striker, and I understand that, when you go down to 10 men, you're going to be doing even more defending, but you still need to have some kind of spear to your attack. So don't see it happening, mate. I seen the comment earlier on. I was trying to find it again. Sorry to the poster. I don't see it to put on the screen. But yeah, I'd love to see it, mate. I think it'd probably be better, wouldn't it? Than, is it Ralston playing there at the moment?
It's Ralston, but I mean, I could honestly see if and you're most likely right, you'll stick with the same formation. But if there's going to be a change at that right hand side, I think it could probably be James Forrest.
Great.
And while I'm not his biggest fan, he had a little bit of a renaissance at the end of the season there for Celtic. And it maybe adds a little bit more to the attack, but as we say, he's a very sort of safe manager, isn't he? So whether he would go for that, I just can't see it. But I think something really needs to change. We need to be a bit more direct and a bit more brave on the ball. And as you say, when we do get chances with free kicks, get them in there, get a bit of a, put the cat amongst the pigeons, as it was. Let's see what the defences are made of. But I think tomorrow is it's a must-win. I don't think
there was a comment saying that 4 points, it's Paul that said that 4 points is enough to go through, but I think tomorrow is a must-win, mate. I think the next two games are must-wins. Maybe you're right, Paul. Maybe that you still can go through, but I just think that goal difference that we took a beating with would maybe put us in the not so great category if we finish third.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I think we've pretty much summed up the first round of games. Really be interested in people's comments if if you like this sort of content. It's obviously outside of Rangers. Is talking about Euros, but please leave us your thoughts. We'll be back next week at some point to round up some more games, and hopefully you'll join us. But before we finish, Billy, any last thoughts that you'd like to say before we wrap up?
I'm just hopeful again, mate. As I said earlier on, they pull you back in, don't they? Because they disappoint you, and then they'll maybe do something that gets your hopes up. Hopefully, we don't do any typical Scotland stuff and like get a win and then get beat off Hungary in the next game, or even go and get beat 5-1 again, something like that. But no, thank you all, everyone, for the comments. Again, reiterate what Thommo says every week. Please leave comments for us if you think you can. Any ideas to help us improve? Any ideas that you want to see us do? And thank you very much for listening and watching.
Yeah, thanks again for coming on, Billy. It's been a good chat, and I hope you enjoy the game tonight. To everyone that's joined in, left comments, thank you very much. As I say, this channel wouldn't be here without you. So please keep liking and subscribing. Let friends know, and every evening there's going to be a new podcast on new content coming out daily. So please let us know if you enjoy it. And as you know, every night is a Rangers Journal night. Good night.